Hello, welcome to another Gundam Battle Operation 2 video. That is the new suit, the GM3 powered FA, or full armor, or you can call it the Bulldog as well, because apparently that's its nickname. It's a pretty fucking chunky boy, look at that thing. I got both the ladies on me, I got the Zaku lady and the Goof lady. And I got two matches here for you. Both on Impact site in rating matches. The second one's going to be a little bit unfair because we bully the enemy team back to their base, but that's just, how some matches go. And I actually recorded them with my Elgato that I mentioned in a few streams already, and I hope it looks nicer. The video here, it definitely looks nicer looking at it from my from my recording equipment here. So so I hope it's good to look at. So if it isn't, let me know in the comments. But yeah, another Moon Gundam suit, and it's a 500 support, and I gotta say it's a pretty handy support. It's a pretty You can even play aggressive with this thing. It's actually pretty fun to play. But is it good though? Well, we'll see here in a second. And by the way, this poor Gallus. He could actually kind of fuck me up here in a second, or he could have fucked me up. But yeah, he's just gonna get blasted. Unfortunately, yeah, he's gonna die now. So anyway, back to what we were saying here. Yeah. For stats, we're gonna start off with the stats. I already mentioned that it's a 500 support. And it has 18,000 health with 20 ballistic resistance, 24 beam resistance, 22 melee resistance, 25 range strength, 15 melee strength, 115 movement speed, and 185 boost speed, 70 thruster gauge, 60 turning speed, which turns into 69 in space. Nice. And for slots, you have 8 close, 17 mid, and 11 long range slots. And I believe this thing has, it has some pretty high resistances. I think it has like the second highest resistances overall compared to I think the Nominis. Nominis has pretty high melee resistance. But this thing, 22 melee resistance, which is nice, and you have enough slots to definitely tank the suit up. I believe I've got the loadout I've used for both these matches. I have like 41, 42 beam resistance, and I still have enough to get a decent amount of range and melee strength, which works out quite nicely with this suit. And so that's good. And of course, there's 70 thruster gauge, nice. Now for your weapons here, we start off with the primary weapons. You have the GM3 powered full armor double beam rifle, which thank God they they don't actually put that all in there. I'm just saying what it is, but yeah, it's called the DBR, the FA DBR. Holy shit, that'd be a mouthful just trying to explain that every time. But yeah, that is 800 damage with 40% heat rate with 350 range, and you can charge it. If you shoot it, it actually shoots twice, as usual, as most double beam rifles do, and you can actually cancel it after shooting it once. So like, let's say you aim at somebody, you can shoot it, and you shoot once, and you can switch to the next weapon like that, which is good. If you don't want to waste, let's say like you're about to overheat your weapon, you can just fire it once for that added damage, or for a stun accumulation. But you can charge up the beam rifle, and you can get some pretty damn good damage. It overheats, unfortunately, but yeah, when you do charge it up, I think I've consistently gotten over 3,000 to a little bit over 4,000 damage, which is quite good if you want to finish somebody off or get major damage, right? And then for your melee weapon, you have the GM3 powered FADBS, the double beam saber, which is 2,300 damage. It has a poking downswing, and I believe it can actually hit suits on the ground, having used it for the combo this thing can do with its skills, which we'll get into momentarily. So it does some pretty good damage. Again, you have 15 melee strength, my bad, and I buffed mine up, and I get like over 2,500 damage on somebody, and of course you can add in that tackle, the interrupt tackle, into another downswing. If you didn't see my testing video, it does a lot of damage. So that's good, especially when you add it with the skill. And now for your secondary weapons here, you have the rear beam cannon, which is 2,000 damage with 90% heat rate and 400 range. And yeah, it's a stun. You have to stop the fire to use it, unfortunately. But yeah, it's your stun. It does some... I wish it did a little bit more damage, but it's fine where it is if you mix it up with the other weapons. It actually can re-stun. If you, let's say you fire with your beam rifle, charge up beam rifle, get a stun, you can use the beam cannon to follow up and get a re-stun. Or if you use your waist-mounted grenades. You can follow up with that. So yeah, and of course 400 range. That's some good range. So yeah, pretty useful. Next weapon here is the chest missile launcher, which is 100 damage, 20 rounds, and 400 range. It is a double missile launcher, so every time you shoot, it shoots 2 missiles instead of 1, and it takes 10 missiles to stun somebody. And I believe if you mix it up with actually, no, I'm gonna get that here in a second. So good for getting some extra damage or trying to get a stun accumulation, or mixing up with your beam rifle or other weapons. For your next weapon here, you have the shoulder missile pod, which is 300 damage, 12 rounds, 350 range. Is that little missile shoulder pod that you have on your... you can see it there on the left shoulder. And you can fire it rapidly, but it has a really low stun accumulation. I mean, like, really low. So you kind of just want to use it for extra damage. Unless you really have to get that stun accumulation, you're almost out of weapons, right? And it's probably still not going to work. So it's nice for the extra damage. Just don't think you're going to get a stun accumulation from it. Next is your waist mounted grenades, which is 800 damage, 6 rounds, 250 range. You shoot 2. It's like the Jetta's grenades, except they instant stun, and you shoot a pair of them, and you have to stop the fire to use them. And they do some good damage, 800 damage each. That's ballistic damage. So a lot of people don't build ballistic at this cost. So you mix that up and then use your beam cannon or into your other weapons. Yeah, that damage will add up very, very quickly. And of course, you can force somebody to do a dodge roll. You can force options out of people with some of the weapons you have here. Next is the 6-tube leg missile pod, which is 250 damage, 12 rounds, and 400 range. And these are fire missiles, so like the Zusa and the Gaz El Grau. However, it does 300 damage each tick, and it has 5 ticks total. So that's for one missile, you have 1,500 damage. And these missiles are pretty slow, and they have a very awkward firing angle. So you're gonna have to use them at range. And I wish they were faster. But yeah, it seems like it's just useful for firing into a group of people. You know, like on impact site here, you can use that at the opening moments or at some moments where the enemies group together and get some added damage, which is pretty damn good. They have some stun accumulation. I unfortunately I wasn't able to get exactly some of the stun accumulations, but it has some there. So you can kind of mix it up with your next weapon here, which is the grenade launcher, which is 300 damage, 5 rounds, and 400 range. It says grenade launcher, but it's just like the Taoist grenades or the Dagdoll's Dag Leaders, where it has a AoE effect that does damage over time. It doesn't stun instantly, and in fact, it doesn't stun at all if you use it by itself. It does 8 ticks of damage, and yeah, if you fire, this is where I look at the accumulations here. I have them written down, but actually, first of all, time out. Let's see what we got going on here. Good works all around, and let's see, mission completed. How will the double support stack up here? Hey, top damage, and I got shot at the most, and the other support got top individual with 5,000. Wonderful, nice. I'm gonna praise the guy that helped me earlier too. I wish I could just praise everybody. They're doing good. And hey, second place, 4 and 2, 100k damage. Nice. 2,700 individual score. Next match here, this is the one that's like we kind of bullied the enemy team to their base, and we're still kind of tied up at some points. Yeah, back to the stun accumulation. So if you use your AoE missiles, let's say that you get the full 8 ticks off, right? If you get the full 8 ticks off, they're not going to stun, but if you throw in your beam, your double beam rifle, it actually takes 1 of those beams. Since it shoots 2, it takes 1 to stun afterwards. Or if you use your missiles, the double missile launchers from your chest, it takes 2 of those to get a stun, or at least I think maybe 1. So that's a very fast stun accumulation, and you get 4 of those grenade launchers. So really good for area of denial, and people walk through it. You can potentially throw out your missiles or your beam rifle to get an extra stun to make sure if they dare pass through, you can get some damage and a stun out of it. Definitely really useful for working in tandem with working together with other suits that have like some stun accumulation, or just since some people are afraid of going across area of denial weapons, or area of effect weapons, they will just not cross it, and then you can have your team push on one side. And if they do cross that AOE, then you can try and get a stun that way. So it's a good utility weapon. It's not since it doesn't stun at all. It is not. I repeat, it is not a good defense weapon. So if you will not be able to pull a Zusa with this thing, which is unfortunate. I kind of wish it had better stun accumulation because of that reason, but it works, right? It works. And I believe with the fire missiles, I think if you use 5, 6 fire missiles and then you use the AoE, you can get a stun. I think that's the same if you throw in the double beam rifle. Maybe it takes a little. I think actually it might take most of the shots of the fire missiles to get a stun with the double beam rifle. So they don't have terribly high stun accumulation. So you want to be using the double missiles and the double beam rifle more often, along with the grenade launcher. And you get 4 or 5 rounds. My bad, not 4 or 5. So that's 5 AoE attacks to use, and it does have 400 range. So you can preemptively place it somewhere from a far enough range, or support somebody with, like, let's say they downswung an enemy. You can send that out if you don't have your other weapons ready and get some added damage. So good. And then for your skills, you have radar level 2, you have scope level 2, you have data link, scouting device, you have aerospace gimbal level 2, you have blast stabilizer, you have explosive reactive armor, which is nice. I believe explosive reactive armor is if a bazooka blast radius if the bazooka doesn't directly hit you, it doesn't stun you. You have enhanced tackle level 5 and interrupt tackle, which is carried over from the original GM3 powered, and it works really well for this suit combo wise. Very devastating combo of downswing to tackle to downswing again. And if you don't think you can hit it, you can just do hit the downswing, you do a neutral swing instead. So if you guys don't know interrupt tackle, if you're doing a melee, you can cancel it immediately by doing a tackle. So yeah, downswing to tackle to downswing. And for support, if you buff up that melee resistance or that melee strength, yeah, you'll be getting some damn good damage, especially if you mix it up with your other weapons. This thing it can be very aggressive on somebody, and if you have a teammate with you, definitely let this thing get its combo off and then finish up on somebody, because you will just absolutely wipe somebody's health away. It's great. Oh yeah. Oh my. Actually, that was almost 5,000 damage with that charge shot. 300 damage away from 5,000. So yeah, that fully charged double beam rifle does a lot of damage. But yeah. Back to skills, you have back level 2, you have back add-on buffer. I believe that's 10% off on your back there. It almost looks like the pods they put in a really elongated pod that they put in the Ava units. But you also have the arm equipment buffer. I believe that one's 10% as well. And then you have actually I think that might be 15%. It's a level 2. And then you have leg buffers. So yeah, that is the GM3 powered FA, or I'm just gonna call it the Bulldog. And yeah, it's a pretty handy support. Like, I'm actually having a lot of fun playing this suit, even if it's not going to be good in the next week. Like, once people learn how to play against it or with it, even then, it's a pretty fun suit to play. I really enjoy playing it. I do like the utilities the suit provides. The AOE is pretty useful, mixing up with your other weapons, your missiles. You basically just have constant damage output, which is really great. If you can manage that, manage your stuns, yeah, and if you can get in with the melee as well, because they do promote that in the description for this, they even mention that you can be aggressive with this thing, and it really shows if you're playing with a team that's also aggressive. It's very good at being that aggressive player, and with the constant damage and the stun locks it can do, it can checkmate somebody and then punish them heavily. If you guys don't know what checkmate means, that is my way of saying you used up somebody's defensive abilities, like dodge rolls, or you stop their maneuver armor. So yeah, you just, let's say you're fighting somebody, they do a tackle and it whiffs or goes past you. All right, well, use your grenade with your waste grenades into your beam cannon, and hey, just like this Hazel here, yeah, downswing tackle, downswing. That guy was almost at full health, and now he's below half health. Really, really damn good damage. So this thing really benefits aggressive players. And thing is, it has weapons for all ranges. You can play long range, go into mid range, and then go into close range to help your team out. So it's very good at that. I was gonna list some pros and cons, but it's obvious that like there's a lot of pros with this. I already mentioned all the pros, and for cons, it should be pretty obvious. For this suit, the first one I'm gonna mention is that it's a very chunky suit. So of course, your support, you don't have maneuver armor or dodge roll or anything like that. So if you get stunned, you get stunned. You can get stun locked, and you can end up being pretty easy to kill for a lot of raids. Raids won't have trouble with you unless somehow they fall for an interrupt tackle, which at that point they should stun you first and then melee you. That's how you avoid that if you're a raid. So another downside, a little con, I think the missiles should fire faster. They're a little bit slow, especially the fire missiles, which I guess is supposed to help promote you getting closer to the enemy for like the mid-range. Oh, you can see King started a party, nice. A mid-range to a close range with the missiles, and man, it really works. This suit, it just works, even though it feels like it shouldn't work sometimes. Look at that, god damn, with the teamwork there too, nice. But again, we'll have to wait a week to see how this is, because it feels like it can get, well, I mean, it can get bullied pretty hard by most competent people, like raids. But if you're playing with a team, it really helps out the team a lot with the constant damage, with the fire missiles or the AoE, so it can deny somebody's area. You can put it like an impact site or mountain, so you get 5 shots of that. This is really damn good. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with this suit. And look at that, you get a unique counter. It's not the fucking kick. Holy shit, it's not the good old Gundam kick. Ain't that some shit? Mission completed, and we'll see what we got going on here real fast. Hey, top assist and top damage, which is a little bit unfair because they're kind of just out their base. But I think I got top damage both matches there with over 100k, so you can build up damage pretty fast with this suit. And yeah, first place, 1 and 2. Obviously, I was not getting the kills for my team there. So yeah, this suit, I heavily recommend if you want another support. If somehow you don't have the Zusa, which I believe should be in the DP store now, I think. Maybe? I haven't been to the DP store in a while, but I know it's appearing in the ticket store a little bit more often now. But which, if you have the Zusa, Zusa's still a really damn good suit. But if you want another support at 500, this is not a bad support to pick. It's quite handy, and as you saw, it has a lot of utilities with it. It's really good to play. The problem is if you have to learn the stun accumulations, and you have to learn when and what weapon to use at the time. Like if you just pull out a grenade launcher in front of like a raid charging at you, you're not gonna get a stun. I tried that multiple times already. I tried to use it. I try to do like a setup where I preemptively drop it in front of me when somebody's charging me, and then I try to use my beam rifle to potentially get a stun, and it's half and half on 50-50 on how it works. Usually they linger around in the AoE enough for it to get a stun after I shoot them with the beam rifle, and other times they're out of the AoE and they don't get stunned. They take some damage, but you know. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe if you want. I'd really appreciate it. And, you know, type up in the comment section how you feel about the GM3 powered full armor, or FA, or Bulldog. Do you like it? Do you hate it? I think this is a pretty fun suit to play. I mentioned earlier that even if the suit gets figured out in the next week, because this is initial thoughts, right? If it gets figured out and it's not that good of a suit, I still think it's a very fun suit to play. And of course, with that interrupt tackle, it's a very unique feeling support when you get that combo off. It feels really damn satisfying to do. And just the stun locks you can do, the utilities you have, like with the AoE, and the constant forms of damage really make the suit stand out. So yeah, I do recommend if you want to roll for it, go ahead. And it is a 2-star, which is funny because like some of the best suits are 2 stars, like the Zusa. The Zusa is a 2-star support, and it's one of the best supports in the game. And another 2-star suit is the Reezy Custom, which isn't a support, but god damn, that's like one of the best 600 suits. But yeah, that's gonna be it. And let me know if you guys enjoy, or if you guys can actually read, since I'm using the Elgato, the Elgato, the Elgato. If it's actually a lot better to see. Hopefully it is. And with that, I'll probably record more with the Elgato as well, and probably get to doing some streams with it as well, like Gundam Breaker 3, ooh, or even Smash Brothers. That'd be nice. But yeah, that's gonna be it, and I will see you guys later. Bye.